How many people hate taxes and don't want to pay more in taxes? Well, I had a client recently reach out and they had started doing pretty well for themselves. They're really maxing out their 401k accounts, him and his wife, and he's trying to figure out the next layer, the next thing to do. Well, right this second, there's some popular stuff that's out there that's being talked about that if you have excess cash, here's what you should be doing. And I'm here to debunk it. Period. Just flat out, I think that it's a scam. And I'm just going to tell you that right out the gate. Now, I know that some people are going to argue with me. And bear with me because I'm going to set the foundation for this. I'm going to break it all down for you. You may have seen me talk about this before, but this is a whole new one. This is something that really gets my blood boiling. And maybe you're going to disagree. And if you watch this and you feel that you have something you can present to me, I'm welcoming that right now. I am saying, please come forward, put it in the comments. Let's talk. Reach out to me. Show me how I am wrong. Because if I'm wrong, I'll get up right here on a public platform and tell you I'm wrong. I haven't found it yet. And this is not the first one. This is multiple different times that this keeps coming up, different policies, different reputable companies, and a very popular person who is running ads on Facebook trying to get you to first just learn some tax strategy, but ultimately it's a pitch to sell you the worst investment. All right, that said, let's get in. Let's see exactly what I'm talking about. And so first, like I say, I want to set the foundation here and show you, if you're looking at this, this is a policy that is being received, and basically the entire pitch with what is going on, remember, stay with me on this, is that it's not just a whole life policy. This is a tax strategy to be able to basically cheat the government, be your own bank, and pull money out, borrow from yourself, and never have to depend on anybody else again and not have to pay taxes. There's a lot of breakdown with this and how it works. Now, I want to show you some different things here. So this is first just a complete overlay of what the person would be doing. This person's 44 years old, great health. They were sold not sold, but presented to be sold this policy. And it was going to be starting at 45. They were going to put in $36,000 for the first 9 years, $30,000 in the 10th year, $17,000 2022 until year 20. And then it was a paid up policy that their net death benefit would be potentially $1,282,000. Their cash value would be $756,000, but they could borrow from it tax free. That's really what this all comes to. You're putting money away, but this is your money. You're never going to have to depend on anybody else the rest of your life. Now, something that's interesting that comes into play here, though, that I want to point out and specify. Now, I keep telling you to bear with me because I'm going to prove this argument. And if you think that I'm wrong, I'm asking you, please let me know. But I want proof of why I am wrong. That's all I'm asking for. And so with this said, if you're looking here, this illustration reflects the dividend option of ILSR. I'm going to go into that in a second. Non-guaranteed values include dividends, which are neither estimates nor guarantees, but are based on the 23 dividend schedule. The dividend schedule is reviewed annually and is likely the dividends in future years will be lower or higher depending on the company's actual experience. For this reason, we strongly recommend that you look at a hypothetical lower schedule illustration available on request. Why is somebody giving you something on request that is potentially the worst case scenario, or not even the worst case, but a lower hypothetical? Why are they only doing that on request and not telling you, hey, flat out? Why is this a fine print thing? That's part of my problem with this entire thing. It's not transparent. It should be illegal. And it makes my blood boil because I don't want somebody to make the worst investment for your money flat out. And if you've made this investment, by the way, I'm going to make another one on how to get out of this. Part 2 is coming next week, so be sure to watch for that. That's a little shameless plug there. So let's go ahead and look at this entire policy. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you why this is the worst investment in history, and it should be illegal, and it is a scam. Have I said that yet? So let's take a look here. All right, so what we're looking at with this policy, this gentleman is going to start funding it, and in year 10, he's going to have put in, let me back up for just a second. Year 9, he's paying in $36,000, up to $36,000 every single year. Year 10 is a little bit different. And so with that, you have a guaranteed side. Your guaranteed side is basically saying, hey, here's what we're doing here. Now, one thing I want to specify with this policy, and this is what people are saying is different, because people will say, well, it's not your general whole life policy. These are a different type of policy that are structured a certain way. Again, these are reputable people that are marketing all over Facebook and selling books, selling strategy, and then selling this policy ultimately, that are telling you that this is a trick that they have found. And so what they're finding here is a separate policy. And what ends up happening is this LISR target face amount. So basically, they're putting in what is LISR, is a rider that combines 1-year term insurance and paid up additional insurance that provides coverage in addition to the amount of the basic policy. So they're trying to say, well, we're going to make the policy slightly cheaper and you're going to have these paid up additions. So you're going to have the $1 million policy, but over time, it's going to basically put this fast track on everything. It's like you're going to hit super speed with this policy to bump it up. So then it's going to be able to grow at a higher rate. There's all of the pitch with this, and it always sounds good. I'm not telling you this because I'm not a salesperson and I'm not sitting here trying to sell you something. I'm trying to prevent you from making a mistake. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it and make it sound amazing, but they do. They're really good at that. And so you've got over here this, insurance rider that basically comes into play that eventually dwindles down. And then your total net death benefit should be $1 million while you're at, year 9. So if you're buying insurance, though, why would you not just buy term insurance that's cheaper and go that route? Dave Ramsey, he's got it right on that one. You can't argue with the guy. And so right here, if we're looking at this strategy, you go down to year 20, you've got some numbers and you've got all of your different values here, $756,000 total projected cash value, though it's not guaranteed. So now let me go over here and let me share, a bit of a breakdown. But before I do that, I better go through, because the SEC is now coming after advisors for hypothetical performance. So I'm going to tell you that everything that I'm doing in this is a 6% return. I went to the IRS website, their compound interest website, to calculate this. When I did it, I said, okay, I'm going to go with a 6% return. Vanguard put together this, there's disclosures at the very bottom that I want to directly go through. Past performance, no guarantee of future returns. When determining which index to use and for what period we selected the index that we deem to be a fair representation of the characteristics reference market given the information currently available. I'm not going to read through all that, but I'm letting it sit there for 2 seconds. Take your time, read through it, because I want to make sure that I'm showing people realistic numbers. I say 6% is what you would be getting here as a potential hypothetical scenario. But with that, I'm looking at the risk tolerance and what Vanguard has put together from 1926 to 2019. Average annual return is 5.3 for fixed income, 5.99 of 10% equity, 90% fixed income, 20% equity, 80% fixed income is 6.62. If you're telling me that I'm way off on my 6%, again, come at me in the comments. I'm waiting for you, because here's some proof and data. I'm going ultra conservative. And if you want to say, well, I want to be ultra conservative with my whole life policy and that's why I'm doing it, it's still a massive, horrible investment, period. No way around this. And so, looking at 100% equity, they're using a 10.29% return. If I did that, I'd blow you out of the water and I'd make you be like, wow, this is really bad. But no, I want to be safe about this. I want to be smart about this and what I'm sharing with you. And so now let's take a real look. Let's look at the exact research and study of the differences here and what we're looking at. And so if we're looking here, years 1 through 9, if you gave me $36,000 and you were to get a 6% return on your money, you would have $413,687 the end of year 9 versus $308,680 on this one that's non-guaranteed. This is non-guaranteed as well, setting that all up. So now let's look through, you're going to have year 10, which is going to be slightly different. So this is year 10. You're going to have 468,676 because you're going to put in 30,000 and some change on that year. Then we're going to go to year 20. And in year 20, we're going to go ahead and take the rest of the money and say it's compounding. And we're going to go ahead and add the additions, that's $17,022 here. At the end of year 20, if you were to average a 6% rate of return based on Vanguard's research here, that's what I'm using is that number. You have $1,063,612 versus $525,793. Now, what people are going to say is, well, I can borrow from this and it's tax-free money. But this is long-term capital gains, which is taxed at 15 and a max of 20%. So if you were to even just cash out, that's one thing. But what they say is you're going to borrow from it. And let's just say that, you're borrowing from it and your account is growing at a 5% rate of return. They're charging you a 5% fee as well, just to let you know on that. So it's not that it's this free thing that they're telling you, oh, well, you can borrow and your money will still grow. They're still charging you on the money you're borrowing. Why not just go get a loan? Well, but interest rates are higher. Well, would you rather borrow on $1,063,612? And, you can do a line of credit against your stock. Maybe it's 8% right this second, but even if you got an 8% loan, would you rather borrow on $1 million at 8%? Or, $525,000, you're going to get a 5% loan. There's a big difference there. You can also make more in the market long-term historically. Again, going back to Vanguard's research there, showing you that. So in the end, yeah, you can borrow, you can do the strategies, you can do the same things with the stocks. But what we'll look at is at age 90, you're going to have over a $2 million difference. You're going to have $2,224,446 versus $4,838,000. Oh, but it's a death benefit. The death benefit on this, just to let you know, their federal standpoint on all of this, unless you cross over the estate planning numbers when it comes to inheritance, this right here on a brokerage account, if you were investing in that, and you have $4,838,000, that's got a step up basis. The inheritance you're going to receive from this legacy that you're wanting to build, that it's being sold on such a perfect policy, is a lie. It's a flat out lie. Again, welcoming people to prove me wrong on this in the comments, because I have ran through multiple things here. But I think the real thing that got me on the entire thing was the fact that they're going to run the illustration to show you what you have at 121 years old. 121. Who's living to then? Maybe it's your grandma. Maybe. I hope they do. But you know what? The average life expectancy is drastically lower than this. Financial planners are often using age 90. Why is an insurance company presenting something with such unrealistic ages of expected death to show you this massive number of over $10 million that you could potentially accrue for legacy when it's a lie? Now, if we come down here, one last thing that you want to see is the fact that if you did live to 121, based on what they're currently paying out, your non-guaranteed values, your internal rate of return would be 4.45% on average. Well, 4.45% is a far difference than even the 100% fixed income over here that Vanguard says is an average annual return of 5.33. So this is a bad investment. But if you go back to age 90, 4.10. So you're even farther off. So this all depends on when you're going to pass away as to actually the rate of return. But if you were to sit here and start, you have a negative 40% return. It's not until year 10 that you're nearly break even. You have a negative 0.24% return in year 10. So at what point do you think that this is something that you should actually invest in and do, other than just being sold based on the idea that your guaranteed money is not going to go down because it's insured? You can borrow from this and cheat the government out of taxes, which is not really true, because yes, you can borrow from it, but you can borrow from anything and not pay taxes on it if you're smart about it. And ultimately, it's just the fact that it's not a legacy builder that's really going to compound and grow to a point that you're going to be able to leave this massive amount to family. Instead, you could do the same thing with an interest, with a brokerage account. So all of that said, I get really frustrated with this stuff when I see people getting pitched this. It's all over the place right this second. And what's really interesting is, if you're still with me on this, Index Universal Life is a totally different strategy that I'm working on finding some information to research that one as well. But with that, anybody that you talk to that sells these whole life policies, and as I say, these are people that are out there spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads to try to get you in the door and eventually pitch you this. These people are telling people that the Index Universal Life is actually horrible. So what's interesting is you're seeing that all over the place right this second. And these whole life policies, just the opposite. So if they're saying that one's that bad, I'm telling you this one's that bad, I don't think that any of them are good. All right. Well, that's my soapbox for the day. If you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. Here at Jazz Wealth, I just like to shoot you straight. And, if you want to check us out, feel free to do so. And we appreciate you watching.